So I think this video was very let's say informative and summarizing the things in a very nice way, I would say. And now I would like to request Richard Will. He's the head of farming at Seafields, and he is also owner of extensive organic farming business in the UK. He has developed innovative new technology and embraced nature-based solution to overcome farming challenges and enrich the quality of their products. So, Richard, could you please say a few words about your latest experiment that you have been, like last week, I think you were already on the sea. Would you like to share something? So I would like to ask you to unmute yourself.
Hi. I would just like to say thank you so much to FOID for inviting me to be on this. It's a great privilege to share with so many great young minds as well as older minds, and Victor in particular has been an inspiration to me in explaining some of the systems. And I would just encourage anyone who has been on this call to go back and look and ask more questions about the systems that we're involved with, because firstly, understanding what we're dealing with is the first thing. So education is the first move you can take to then going forward and sharing that. So we've been working in the Caribbean, trying to understand as much as we can about Sargassum. It is the most amazing gift that nature has for us in this area. I mean, the 70% of the planet is this massive ocean, and the land space is competed for so much with growing food. The sea area is an amazing resource, and whilst you think that we have this amazing seaweed, we have the nutrients, we have ways of bringing nutrients up to the surface. It all sounds too good to be true, but the engineering is super complex, and we can't just go out and put stuff in the ocean because it's incredibly powerful. But we've identified an area in the subtropical gyres where it's really the doldrums, where there's not huge amounts of storms, and that's the place that we're going to be focusing on, in the deep abyssal plain where there's not a huge amount of marine life, and it's a silty seabed 4,000 meters deep. Effectively, what we're doing is scooping up the seaweed on the surface, compacting it and sinking it. So it's similar to the opposite of what people are doing with oil wells, where carbon is being sucked up. We're just putting carbon back down there. And the work that we've been doing in the Caribbean is floating barriers containing seaweed and measuring the growth rates, seeing how those barriers react to the wind and the currents, and just understanding more and more about this incredible weed that people have been treating as a huge problem. And it is a huge problem in the Caribbean. When one of the prime ministers of one of the islands was at COP26, he said, yes, climate change is a problem, sea level rising is a problem, but for us, Sargassum is the problem. And it just gives you an idea of how much power this plant has. In Mexico, they are scooping up huge amounts of it on their beaches. And when we suggest growing vast quantities of seaweed somewhere like there, they scratch their heads and go, why would you want to do that? We have so much here. But when it hits the beaches, it starts degrading, and that carbon dioxide goes back into the atmosphere. So what we're trying to do is work out a way to grow it at a huge scale in the deep ocean. And with the minds of young people and creative people, scientists, engineers, we believe very strongly that this is a really good solution to helping the climate problem. And it's not the only solution. There's lots of things, good things that people are doing. But the ocean has a huge potential, and at Seafields, we're able to unlock that. Welcome any questions or any comments.
Thank you very much, Richard. So I would like to request one more time to people to join for 5 more minutes, because we have some very interesting question. I think we all will learn a lot. Now I would say that Victor or Richard both can answer the question. So I go back to one of the question there. People were asking that, are there some other possibilities than the sargassum to tackle this? So maybe a very few words from Victor about it.
Yeah, there are, you can look them up on the web. There's one technique called direct air capture, where you blow air directly through filters that take the CO2 out. But that requires a lot of energy. So that energy would compete with energy production on land, right? And there's so also taking up the CO2 from the coal firing plants or directly, that costs a lot of energy, because you have absorbents that need to be heated. That's for them to take up CO2, and then they need to be heated again to release the CO2, and then you have to collect that CO2, and then you've got all that CO2. And one of the techniques is to press it into the ground in certain areas, but then you have to drill those holes, and then you need a lot of extra energy to do all that. So that's one technique. Another technique is called artificial weathering, where you grind rocks. There are certain kind of rocks that if they dissolve, they release silicate, which is something that a lot of plants use, which is then goes into the water, into the ocean, and leads to diatom blooms, for instance. These are algae that need silicate. And then the magnesium and calcium that is left behind would then bind with CO2 and make carbonate rocks. But then you need a huge amount of rock, because you need the same amount of rock that you have of CO2 in excess. Many gigatons, hundreds of gigatons, which again, you're talking about cubic kilometers. Again, a lot of energy, because you have to grind that rock very fine, and that has not yet been tested. So these are the two major techniques. There's another one using electrolysis, where you would separate the cations from the anions, and the anions in this case would be chloride. So for every CO2 that you bind in this process, you have a chlorine molecule, Cl2. Which is much, I prefer to having CO2 than chlorine in the atmosphere. Anyway, so
so there are several other options, but we believe, or you believe, that this is the most energy viable and feasible, and this is really the plan B for everything. So it is a plan B for real solving all the issues.
It has many added benefits.
So thank you very much, Victor. So I would like to go forward, but there is a very general question coming that it is very interesting to listen, but how normal people would participate in this movement? So what normal people can do other than like learning about it, talking about it, what they can do?
Well, once we start this, you've seen this company Seafields was formed because of listening to this possibility and reading about it and then pushing it, and join in this effort. We are just at the beginning. We
have to make people more aware, so that the society get more aware about this solution, and we get more funding, more joining hand with the funds, with the engineers, with the scientists, together with the normal people. So we have to do the movement, like probably what we did several years ago about the plant. So it will be good if someday we reach the level that people also draw a picture of sargassum when they talk about the environment, and that if we reach like tree, then we will see a big progress coming out of the whole system, from the political side, from the financial side. Yeah. So we have a few more questions. So from Rajan Sinha, how we can influence and inspire the large number of people to overcome the excess releasing of CO2 that is very much challenging for all of us. I think we are doing several, let's say, program to make people aware. So this we are quite on the way, but we might have to do more. to making people more aware. How much of carbon will be cut after growing sargassum in the following year? So I think this has been now answered, that what is the plan. But of course, we have to make this happen. As much we can grow the sargassum, that much multiplication factor we can reach in reducing the CO2. It is up to us how much we reach. Then we have some interesting question. Is there, give me a second. How to secure our environment? I think we have to keep doing whatever we are doing, like save water and save animals. So all these standard thing, what we are doing, we have to keep doing, and we have to emphasize in saving wherever we can save, right? Or you want to add something, Victor?
No, that's right. I mean, we have to reduce our energy consumption, and yeah, we know all that, right? So that has to be done. But then again, the reason for the talk is to show you that on top of that, we have this problem.
So we have to catch up.
People are not talking about, which is not getting much attention. It does not get the attention it deserves.
Yeah. So there's a question
from. There's sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
please,
Gautam. I just wanted to say, I think just an awareness of everything we do in our daily lives and what the choices that we make in things that we buy. For example, sweet fizzy drinks. The impact that has, and the alternatives that are there that can lighten our footprint on this planet. And really it's with that education for young people to understand the impact that everything that they do has, and to understand what ideas of success are. And gradually, I think this planet needs to understand that a successful family is a family that has a light footprint and lives in a sustainable way, and so that we can really kind of make a difference. I mean, the internet is the most amazing tool that we have now for young people to come together and to have that pressure on the big kind of corporate world, the governments, and to hold them to account for the damage that's being done and the unsustainable way that we're living in. And I think that spreading that information and joining in the kind of activities that people are trying to do to fix the problem is the best thing we can do.
Thank you very much, Richard. So moving towards the next question, that I'm sorry I'm taking more time, but probably we still have time to talk about such an important topic. So I really appreciate all the audience and also the young kids, those who are listening and joining here today. So there's a question which is very important, that is sargassum not going to create any issue for the aquatic species? Very valid concern.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you always, if you grow anything anywhere, you have to displace something, right? So obviously we'll be displacing, but what we will be displacing here in the open ocean, see, the subtropical gyres cover 50% of the planet, and they are deserts. There's nothing going on there. That's why they're not talked about, because nothing is going on there. So we will not be displacing anything. And if we then put these bales of sargassum on the deep sea floor, again, there's also very little life in that part of the sediment that we would select. So the footprint on the natural ecosystems is not only very small, it's the other way around, because we would be taking pressure off the much more important ecosystems. If we have sea level rise, then all the natural ecosystems on the planet, you can satyanash ho jayega. They will be gone, because we cannot afford to have national parks in India if we have this huge number of refugees leaving just from the Bengal area or from the river valleys, from Mumbai and so on. All these people, these are climate refugees. We cannot keep any natural resources anywhere, natural ecosystems. So the taking off pressure from what is valuable now is what this going to the ocean deserts now would enable.
There would also be a positive additional effect that these sargassum mats would have in the deep ocean for little fish and things actually use it to hide under, and then you increase more fish because those fish are hunting the little fish, and there's an additional impact. And what we haven't also mentioned is the matted areas of Sargassum on the surface reflect the sunlight back up, so you get a cooling effect on the ocean. So there's another positive part to Sargassum.
Thank you, Rich. Exactly.
So it looks like we have mostly win-win situation in this case.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. So I would like to quickly move to the next question. Sorry to cut it here, but the discussion is very, very interesting. I must say that. So there is a question from Dola. She is saying that, can you please tell me, what about DOC release when Sargassum production is very high?
Yeah, dissolved organic carbon is released. Yeah, that organic carbon, very good question. That carbon would then help in taking up the particles, right? So that DOC would accumulate in the surface. That's true. That we have to deal with that when it comes, but that would also be collected because it's a kind of sticky, slimy kind of DOC. So that would also be collected when we are baling the sargassum, when we are concentrating it. But that's a very good question. Yeah, that's why we also need to do research at the same time, obviously. Yes.
Thank you very much for the answer and the great question. So we have a question from one school, the Mana Bharati School, Sai Vibhuti, is asking that a movement known as Safe Soil is spreading across the world, as we know that it plays an important role in the environment. So what leads to the deterioration and what can be done to conserve it for the future generation? I think these are the standard things that we have a lot of information. So unfortunately, due to the time, I would say that let's skip this question. I'm sorry, but let's practice what we learn in the books and so on about this that is already available. If the condition is not favorable, then how can we do this to produce sargassum? Because day by day, the source of water is going to be polluted. I think with the sargassum, we are not intending to pollute the water. So maybe Richard or Victor can say a very quick comment on it.
Sorry, I was just reading this other question. The pollution. No. This is the part of the ocean which is very far away from anything. The pollution there is the plastic. But these are huge stretches of ocean that are not affected. The main pollution is along the coasts, where the runoff from the land is and so on, right? But not over there, not where we will be going.
So thank you very much, Victor. So maybe the last question is that in what way sargassum inundation impact the affected area?
Yes, it would, of course, change that area, but it would make it much more livable for the ocean organisms, right? Because you would be providing them with food, shelter, and so on. So it would improve conditions in the ocean, having these sargassum farms.
Thank you very much, Victor. So there was another question from Nandini Kumari. What is the negative impact of sargassum? I think we have already discussed about it. So I would say that we are really over time. So first of all, thank you very much to all of you to join this session, to Victor, to Richard Will, and all the audience, and especially the young kids who are joining from different schools. So that is really, really great. And I must say that this kind of an event there, we got the support from Consulate General of India. So I would like to thank on behalf of FOID, Consulate General of India, Hamburg, and other organizations, industry, schools, community association, the student association, media house. Everyone came together to support this event. So everyone acknowledged that this is a challenge that we have to solve all together. And I would say that we had the organization from Gitanjali Multilingual Literacy Circle from UK. So Dr. Krishna Kanhaiya has joined. We had the school, International School Hannover joined in this event. DIG Bremen, so Deutsche Indische Gesellschaft Bremen has joined. Frankfurt Indian Scholar Association has joined with us. Würzburg and Schweinfurt Indian Scholar Association was there. Gyan Kata is a very nice organization in India. They joined us. There's Apna Frankfurt Radio Channel. They joined. Achiever Junction from India, Marathi Mitra Mandal, and many other organizations. They have come together like Keel Indian. So many different organizations. I'd like to thank all the representatives and the people joining from there, and also the individuals. and let's make this going. And we have been also seeing the kids coming from Johar Navodaya Vidyalaya. So very nice. It is a very nice school in India, I must say that. And we should do more together with such a school and bringing the kids together. So at the end, I would say that I hope this event has created some good memories, some good knowledge to all of us. And I hope people who will watch later will also enjoy. And those who were today, I think they are the agent to propagate it further in their community, in their circle. So that's how it will go. So at least make sure that you talk to minimum 10 people about what you learned today, and at least excite them to learn about it. That will be a great success for all of us to bringing this awareness, I would say. So stay tuned on our social media FOID. We are doing a lot more activities. So I have also shared the link. So please like and subscribe and share it. So get to know about what we are doing. And with this, I would say that once again, thank you once again to Professor Victor and Richard and all the association representatives who help us to do it. And with this, I would say, namaste, choose, bye.
Namaste. Thank you very much, Gautam, for doing all this work. And it is totally unexpected. You hadn't, when we were planning this, you didn't imagine that so many people would join. But look, so you see, the word is spreading. Word is spreading. There's hope. There's hope. Thank you all. And I'll be very happy to give you more talks in depth. Whoever would like to know more details, I'm very willing to share the knowledge I have accumulated over all the 70 years of my life. More.
And so, just want to add here, Victor, that you're also willing to do in Hindi, because like we have a person like Kapil Kumar, he is a very good writer and actor. So we have very good connection with the Hindi circle, with the literature and poem. We have a very good network. So there we can also do in Hindi if people are interested. So I can organize it together with Victor.
I'm afraid that's not something that I can offer either, though.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Then.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye and
namaste. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Namaste.